In this video, I wanted to demonstrate for you guys how to create a text portrait in Adobe Photoshop. If you haven't used Adobe Photoshop before, it can seem like a pretty intimidating program, but I can show you some basic functions of the program that can help you navigate through this assignment. Here's an example of the text portrait, and I tried a couple different versions of it, and it's pretty easy to manipulate so you can get a different look as well. That one's a little more graphic, kind of cartoon-like. That's the original image that I started with. That was this image I started with for another portrait that you'll see in a second. In this one, the text goes around the background and across the face. In this one, the text is just in a stencil of the face. This one is another overlay for background and foreground. And it's the original one that I showed you. So you're first going to need a photo of yourself, and if you're working on the MacBook Air in class, it's easy to use the photo booth. You hit F4, and when this menu comes up, you're just going to hit the photo booth option, and when the camera turns on, you'll be able to take a picture of yourself or your friend. Once you take the photo and you open Adobe Photoshop, and actually I should show you, Photoshop is also in the extended menu, so if you hit F4, you're going to see the PS option and hit that icon to open Photoshop. When you're in Photoshop, go to File, Open, and your photo from the photo booth will be on your desktop. So you're going to select the photo that you want to work with and then hit Open. Once in Photoshop, it's best if the image is clean with a clear background, and I actually like to get rid of the background altogether. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the magic wand tool. I should show you this too. This is your toolbar on the side and your layer panel on the right, which I'll be referencing, and then you have another toolbar across the top. So over here, if you hit the second icon down on the right, your magic wand tool, you should be able to make a selection of light colored areas in the background and then hit the delete button on your keyboard. It's asking you if you want to make it the background color, which I do. If it makes a selection of an area that you don't want to erase, like right there you can see it selected my hair, you could just try clicking in another area of the image. That's a little bit of a cleaner selection there. I'm going to hit delete. Okay. So once I've cleared out my background, I got a little piece over there. I'm going to come over to my layer panel over here, and I want to make a duplicate layer of the background. So what I'm going to do is come up here to Layers and hit Duplicate Layer, and this is a background copy, and I'm going to hit OK. So now I have two layers. One was the original image that I opened, and then a copy of that image. I want to convert my image to black and white, so a shortcut is to hit Command, Shift, and U, and that will convert your image to a black and white image. We're going to apply a filter to this image, so if you come up top to Filters and select Filter Gallery, it's going to bring up a whole range of different filters that you can apply, and feel free to click on them because you can always undo what you did. But we want the filter that's called Torn Edges, and it's under the Sketch option. And before you hit OK to commit to the filter, try sliding the image balance, smoothness, and contrast levels. And you can see that it creates different variations of the image. So I want just enough of a black outline so I can see myself, but not too dark. And I'm going to hit OK. So there's my new image. So if you look over in the layers, I still have my original image and then the background that I created. Now at this point, I'm ready to put the text in to the image, and I'm going to show you how to create the text right now. I'm going to open a new canvas. Call this one text. I want to change pixels to inches, and thinking about the size that my image is going to be, I'm going to print it out on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I want to change the resolution to 150. So 8.5 by 11 and 150. So here's my new blank document. So what I want to do is to create text that I'm going to put into my portrait. So you have a lot of options, and we'll talk about the options in class of what you can write, as long as it's school appropriate. It could be a favorite saying, favorite song lyrics, part of a story that you enjoy, or just something you write on your own. I just use descriptive words of ways that I define myself, and I repeated them, and I chose to do different colored text. So in your blank document, down on the toolbar over here, you're going to hit the T, which is your text tool. Up at the top, if you click here, you have a lot of text to choose from. So you want to select a text style that goes with the style of your portrait and also that you like. But I would recommend going with one of the bolder texts so it shows in the portrait. So I'm going to select this one. If you want to change the color of your text, up here you hit the rectangle and you can slide up and down the slider bar, and then within this area here you can also select colors. So for this one I think I'm going to do all blue. So I hit OK, and then the size of your text is up here. You can change it from 6 point to 72 point, and if you want a number that's out of range from what's being offered to you, you can type it in. But I want to stay on the smallish side, so I'm going to start with 18 point, and I am going to type I love art. I love art. I love art. And you can keep typing, or if you're going to repeat a phrase or saying, you can make a selection of it and hit Command Copy, and then Command Paste. So I'm just repeatedly hitting Command Paste, and then I'm using my Move tool to move it around. Okay. Make a selection again. I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my text for now, and what you're going to do is you're going to change your text into a paintbrush. So when you apply the paintbrush, it'll come out as your text. So come up to Edit, Define Brush Preset. I named it Text, and I'm going to hit OK. So now when I go to my paintbrush, first thing I have to do first is go up to Layer and hit Rasterize all layers. Okay, so now no layers are selected. Gotcha. Okay, so here is my text paintbrush. So I could go, I can change the color if I want to. Use a lot of colors because I like color, because I like art and color. Okay, and I can keep playing with that. And this is the fun part. This is the part that you're going to get sucked into and spend a lot of time playing with. Another option you can do is you can tilt or rotate or put text on a diagonal. If you go to Edit, Transform, Rotate, it'll make the selection and you can move it on a diagonal. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a selection of the text that I just created, and you can see the marching ants going around the outline of the document there. And I'm going to go Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to click into my original document. Where is it? What did I do with it? It's here somewhere. You saw me working on it, right? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to make a new layer. If you come down here on the bottom of the layer panel, there's my new layer. And I'm just going to turn off these layers so you can see the magic happen. And I'm going to go Edit, Paste, hit OK. And here is my text layer. And I'm using the Move tool to move it around the canvas. If you notice these guidelines over here, you can use them to change the dimension of your text, so you can make it larger or smaller. Okay. And then if I turn this back on, now right now the letters are on top of my face, so if I click over here on the portrait layer and drag it on top of the text layer, now my face is on top, but you can't see the letters. So what you can do is you can go back to that magic wand tool and make a selection, and then on your keyboard hit Delete, and there's your text. And you may find that it doesn't pick up everything all at once, so you can go back, make those corrections. All right, so now that I can see what the text looks like with the portrait, I might want to make some adjustments. Some of the things you might want to adjust is you might want to make the text less opaque. So if you come over here to your text layer and change the opacity, you can make it a little bit lighter so it doesn't stand out quite as much, or you can keep it bold. Another adjustment that I like to make is I like to get rid of the text in the background for this particular portrait. So I'm going to use my eraser tool, which is over on the side here, the little rectangle, and make sure that you're in the layer, the text layer, excuse me, not the background layer. And you can just go through and delete. And if for some reason I make a mistake and I delete something I don't want to, you could just go to Edit, Undo, Eraser. And also over here is your history window that shows all the things that you've done so far, so you can also click back a step or two if you make an error. So there I am, erasing the background. I'm going to go here because it looks like I have a point on top of my head. Maybe I do. And delete that. Okay. Now, I feel like the portrait in this particular example, the black tones are not as strong as they could be. So I'm going to come to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and I'm going to increase the contrast to try to make the black stand out a little more. I think that's better. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do the same thing on my text layer. Make it a little brighter. And there it is. And when I'm satisfied and done with my text portrait, the final step is going to be to flatten the image. I'm going to get rid of this background layer because I don't need it anymore. I always hold on to it because I'm afraid I might need it. But I just dragged it to the trash can over in the corner. And then I'm going to go to Layer and all the way down at the bottom, Flatten Image. And now all my